Welcome to the Young Minds of Food Safety podcast, where science is in our DNA. Join us as young scientists from the Food Safety 4 EU project share cutting-edge research and innovations shaping a safer, more sustainable food system. Hosted by LVA.
Welcome to Young Minds of Food Safety, the podcast where we explore the future of food safety and innovation. I'm your host, David Steiner, and in today's episode we will be diving into how the fourth industrial revolution is transforming the landscape of technology-driven management for food business operators. With the rise of digitalization, the design and implementation of food safety management systems are undergoing a significant evolution. From real-time and remote access to smart data analysis and artificial intelligence, these cutting-edge technologies offer immense potential to optimize food safety management across the industry. Today we are excited to be joined by Martina Sartoni, a postdoc researcher at the Department of Veterinary Science at the University of Pisa. Martina's expertise lies in IT applications in food safety management systems, as well as smart technologies and food tech for sustainable food chains. We will be discussing how these innovations are reshaping food safety practices and what the future holds for sustainable food systems. Hello, Martina. It's a great pleasure to have you here today.
Oh, thank you. Hello, David.
So, Martina, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you became interested in food safety management systems?
Yes, of course. And first of all, thanks for inviting me to join this episode of the podcast. My journey started with a degree in veterinary medicine, and later I specialized in food hygiene and food inspection, which has given me a foundation of food safety topics. So then I deepened my knowledge about food legislation, regulatory requirements, and the implementation of food safety management system. So I had the opportunity to observe the requirement and the food safety management system from various perspectives, and I think this has been a key factor in motivating me to explore the topic further. And also it has raised questions about how food safety management is evolving and is adapting in this current landscape. In fact, I completed my PhD working specifically on the digitalization of food safety management system in food companies.
I understand. Very interesting. So, Martina, the topic of today's episode is called the impact of the fourth industrial revolution on food safety management systems. Could you give us more information on what the fourth industrial revolution is and how it actually differs from the previous ones?
Yes, of course. We can say that the fourth industrial revolution marks a profound transformation driven by the integration of advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, robotics, biotechnologies, and but what really distinguish this revolution from the previous one is for sure the speed of change. So the way it impacts not only industry but also our everyday lives. So it's about connecting the physical and the digital world in real time, so allowing the system and the machine to communicate, to learn, and also to adapt in an automatic way. So if we compare the first industrial revolution that happened in the 18th century, it introduced the mechanization through the steam power, and then we had the second industrial revolution, so in the late 19th, early 20th centuries, that was defined by the mass production and the use of electricity that boosted manufacturing. Then we had the third industrial revolution. It was mid-20th century that brought electronics, automation, computer into industry. But this fourth industrial revolution really takes this change to a new level, so especially in the manufacturing industry, including and also affecting the food industry. So it's not just about improving the productivity, but also about creating more sustainable, more transparent, and more customizable processes. So it is focused on the production efficiency, and it emphasizes the integration of smart system that has to adapt, lead, and to a more sustainable and connected future for the manufacturing industry. In our case, in the specific food industry.
So, as I understand, food safety management systems and also the digitalization play a very vital role within this fourth industrial revolution. What are some of the traditional methods used in this management system, and how are they evolving with digital technologies?
Yeah, first of all, we have to remember that food safety management system represent the framework and all the measures that are implemented by a food business in order to control and to ensure food safety. So they hold a significant importance for each company. And however, we know how much the implementation of a food safety management system is complex. It's a multidimensional process that require, or we can say would require, a techno-managerial approach. So, and also we must remember that the system is a dynamic system, so should be able to adapt and evolve also based on the change in the company process or product. So this has been always the great challenge. So if we look back, we think that things started associated with the traditional paper-based documentation. Yeah. So manual input, manual record keeping, and of course from the beginning this meant a big burden for food companies. So big, complex, often also redundant documentation system that in many cases and frequently did not align well with the actual production process. And so there was also the need to ensure at the end the data reliability that you get from the documentation itself. So the other problem was to consider was how difficult it can be to extract the data when it's written and stored in a physical archive. So then gradually the digitalization has been introduced in the control of parameters, processes. We can think, for instance, to the system of barcoding, of labeling that has increasingly affect, for example, the traceability system, the stock inventories. And then now in the current era, so the rise of digitalization and food tech is increasing and is changing the paradigm. So we aim to have more and more digital data, to be more accessible, to be collected in real time, to be easy input to decision making and data analysis.
And can you give us maybe some specific examples where digitalization has enhanced food safety management processes?
Yeah, of course. So we observe that digitalization can offer benefits in remarkable ways and in all the entire process. So we know that food safety management system have a design phase, an implementation phase, and a maintenance phase. So the goal for us is to make the three phases, the three steps of the process more efficient, more accurate, and more easy to be managed. So for sure, as I mentioned before, one of the key areas where this transformation, maybe probably one of the first area where this transformation has took place is traceability. So this means the ability to track the journey of a single product from the farm to the fork of the consumer. So in this case, of course, there was now we can experience the potentiality to implement this traceability system thanks to the use of blockchain technology, where we can track the what in real time, so making the recall products faster, more precise. But also, I think what very interesting is when we come to the HACCP. So HACCP, that is one of the pillar, one of the basic components of the food safety management system. So, and in here, so we know that traditionally HACCP require heavy paperwork, manual oversight, and digital solution can help us to simplify this. So, for example, they can be supportive through database, digital input for the hazard analysis, all the activities related to monitoring and record keeping, the control itself of critical control points. Or, for instance, if we think to the prerequisite program, so I'm referring to the use, for instance, of augmented virtual reality for the activities related to training or gamification for the activities related for training of food handlers. So we can simulate a real life scenarios where we can train our employees in specific activities. Or, for example, they can be useful as keeping on referring to prerequisite program to the pest control management, so having real-time information and real-time input. So, and this was more on the design phase of the food safety management system. But, for instance, when it comes more on the food safety management system implementation phase, for sure we have to mention the digital record keeping that offer massive advantages. So it means that instead of dealing with paper documents, now we can manage records digitally, with can also allows a very easier access to data. And when you have easy access to data, it means that you can easily use the data for input for the new decision process. So it means that you can also use the data in a more efficient way, and this has relevant implication for instance for the verification that can be done in real time, and also and also for the maintenance. So as I was saying, once you have improved your design and your implementation, also when you have reach your data and your digital data, you can easily go for a trend analysis and decision making process. So you can put the resources where you really need, so you can focus, and the process can be more focused, more oriented towards the real need, the real food safety management and the control of specific hazard. So I think there are many opportunities to embrace and to enhance food safety management, from, as I was saying, the traceability to the simplification of HACCP management to the use for monitoring and record keeping, and so in order to shift from a manual input to digital.
Yeah, thank you for this very good overview, and I think it's quite clear that there is a very big potential and a lot of benefits coming along with this kind of revolution. What you also mentioned already before, Martina, challenges. So it is, I think, also quite clear that these kind of revolutions are also accompanied by some challenges. So what are some of the biggest challenges, especially what food companies have to face when integrating digital technologies into their existing systems?
Yeah, of course, certainly there are challenges. There are many, and they are technical, technological, and also managerial. So if we start from the managerial challenge, we have to refer to the cost. So new technology are still at the moment currently still very costly. So this is a big barrier in which regard the food companies has to deal with. Then we have to mention resistant to change, and also the fact that some parts of the supply chain, some specific and also kind of company, I'm referring to small and medium enterprises, so they may have more resistance to this change, and also the need that we have to effectively manage this transition, so from a manual input. So because this has a big impact, there is a big impact on the shift that we can have on employees within a food business at every level, so not for only employees, but also quality assurance, quality control. So it's about going and making this process smooth. So even because food safety culture, the human awareness remain extremely important. So we want technology to be a support, but we cannot think to replace completely the human factor inside food companies, because the human and human awareness inside to manage and food safety safety is extremely important, because there is always the unexpected happening in food companies. So we must pay attention, and we must know that somehow technologies may have some limitation in managing the unexpected situation. So this is a part, and so I think this is a big challenge. Of course, another challenge, big one, is the fact that there is still a lack of clear guidelines, regulation from regulatory bodies. So it's still in a gray area where we don't know. Companies want to go in that direction, but they don't have clear knowledge on how. So what's going to happen also in relation with official controls, auditing from regulatory bodies. So this creates a sort of uncertainty in how to manage this phase and this transition. On the other side, if I have to think about challenge from a more technical and technological perspective, of course, when we implement digital technologies in a food companies to support food safety management, we need to have an expertise in order to select and also to implement and use this technology. So it means having technical knowledge, and also we have to consider that there might be a variability in the digital infrastructure, not only among kind of companies, but also in regions, in countries. So this is a big challenge. And also the fact that I think this is the big one, that the digital solution will have to be adaptable. Because if I have a company, I have already implemented part of my food safety management system in a digital way, or I have to find digital technologies that can be integrated among themselves, because otherwise the risk is to have many kind of digital systems that allow for digital transformation, but they are not integrated. So in the end, you come out with having spots of digital data, but they cannot be integrated. So this is, and then we have, of course, the problem of data protection. So it means that through this process we can and we can bring the food safety management in a more transparent dimension, but at the same time we need to ensure that business are protected, because of course data is a big part of company. So it's like about data protection, data security. So I think the biggest challenge is the integration. So it's finding solution and food tech that can be integrated in current technology already implemented in companies, and that can manage food safety management system as a whole, and not as make of different components.
So there are actually a lot of obstacles in the way, but anyway, the revolution is already taking place, and it's some kind of unstoppable, right? So where do you actually see then the future of food safety management system digitalization heading, and what areas do you think need more research?
I believe that the future of the management of food safety, so of the food safety management system, is moving towards a greater efficiency and effectiveness. So this means being more able to concentrate the resources and ensuring that the system is effective and efficient, focusing on what truly represents a food safety risk. For example, I'm thinking about the concept of lean manufacturing that is applied in many manufacturing processes. So essentially, the message is reducing the waste of the process, also the management system. So going at the point, so reducing the waste also in the context of the food safety management system. So I think the goal will be this. The goal will be, the future will be being more focused and reduce the waste in the management system. And also another fundamental condition that I think is the system interoperability and the data integration. So this I consider this element as crucial for optimizing and understanding how the different technologies work together and can share information. Of course, as you got, there is still much to be explored and studied. And for example, I think that very interesting research area and areas that need further exploration are for example, the key step, all the stages in the digital transformation. So if I am a food industry and I want to go to start this process, which are the steps, which could be the path that I can do. So starting from evaluation, internal evaluation, then how to proceed in this direction, and then how we can work toward this system interoperability and data integration. This is going to be for me a very big research question, and also the fact that probably in the future, but in the close future, we will need to have professionals that combine our knowledge in food tech, digital solution, digital technologies, and also food safety management. So in order to support this transition, and also having more clear guidelines on how to proceed and what to expect from this amount of digital data, how the supply chain will reach and will react to this amount of digital data.
Very interesting. So, Martina, before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or advice for food business operators looking to embrace digitalization in their food systems?
Yes, of course. And I think that for food business operators that look and they want to embrace this process, the digitalization of the food safety management system, I think a good advice would be to start small, but at the same time to think big. So maybe begin with digitalizing essential areas, starting from maybe traceability, record keeping. So having where the benefits can be immediate and also measurable, so you can easily understand how this could improve the management of the food safety inside the food company. But at the same time, not to incur in that risk to having different kind of data. At the same time, ensure that you invest as a food company in a system that at the same time is user friendly and then can scale, can follow, it can be integrated as other components of the food safety management system want to be digitalized, so can accompany you in this process, or if your business grow. So as you have seen, I think this topic is very interesting, and I think it will have a significant potential also for development in our sector. At the same time, I think that we are still at the stage of active exploration, but we are not yet in a fully mature stage. So it's a challenging area, and I think it will be a key area to be addressed in the future. Also, if we consider the need to ensure a huge quantity of food to respond a rapidly growing population, the global markets, and also the need to make agri-food supply chain more sustainable, resilient, and reduce the waste of food that also is linked to the safety of our food.
Martina, thank you very much for your valuable insights. It was a great pleasure to talk to you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Thank you for tuning in to our podcast, Young Minds of Food Safety. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss out on the latest insights from the brightest young minds in food safety. For more information and to stay updated on the Food Safety 4 EU project, visit our website at www.foodsafety4.eu. We'll see you in the next episode.